everyone.
Hi everyone. Welcome back to Beyond the Credits with me, Emily.
And me, Ella. So last weekend, at the time of filming this, we attended the final weekend of the London Film Festival. We really enjoyed it. It was a really good weekend. We just went up on the Saturday, came back on the Sunday. We could have probably done with longer there.
Yeah.
But it was our first time, so
broke it in.
We'll do that next year.
Went in gently. Yeah, there was like so many people that we met that had seen like 30 films.
Yeah, there was a boy that we met in the queue who was on his like 29th and he still hadn't finished yet, and we were like, oh,
drunk on films. And then he went to see like more films. I think he must have seen at least 35 films.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit less, but he was on it. So I feel like next year that will be, I would never get bored of that. I don't think.
Neither would I. I think if you live in London you would.
Oh yeah.
Which he did. So
yeah, 100%.
But obviously with us being from up here, so I think we'll just go for a bit of a prolonged time next year, but we'll at least we know how it all works, how everything rolls there. So yeah, no, it was a really good time, but we're just going to kind of give you a little bit of a debrief of what we saw, what we thought of everything. So yeah,
I'm excited. We saw 4 films. We're going to go in order of the films that we saw. So the first one was Christy. I gave this a 3.5. No, 3 out of 5, sorry.
I gave it 3.5.
Did you give it? Yeah, you did, didn't you? Yeah. What did you think of it?
I liked it more than you. It was a story that I really got invested in, to be honest. I think my worry with this was when I went in, I kind of thought, am I going to just think I'm seeing Sydney Sweeney on screen and not a character? But about 10 minutes in, I was like, no, I'm not seeing that. Like, she played the character really well. I hadn't done any research on this film either, so I think for me, it was more shocking. I didn't know anything really about it either. No, I think the storyline, I was shocked by it, and I think that's what made me invest in the character and the storyline more, because I was genuinely like, whoa, I did not know. I didn't expect anything that happened in it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
I did go into it thinking it was an hour and a half, but it was actually 2 hours 20.
Yeah. I didn't think it needed to be.
Because I was kind of thinking, this has gone on for a while. I don't know where I got an hour and a half from, but
I know. Yeah, I mean, it did feel like a 2 hours 20 for me. And Ella was sat in front of me, because obviously we couldn't get tickets next to each other. And Ella was sat in front of me, and I was waiting for it when it would finish for her to turn around and say what she thought, because I can't really gauge what she was like, the vibe of how she thought about it or what she thought about it.
Yeah, because I turned around a couple of times to you, didn't I? But like, it was like an awkward seat to turn around.
Right beside, like in front of one another. And
even though the screen wasn't filled.
Oh, that's another thing. I was thinking like, oh, this isn't bugbear with me. Like, I got there and we were both like, this was sold out in literally like that. Yeah. And my row was 60% empty. I'm not joking. Either side of me for like 4 or 5 seats, either side was empty.
One thing about this screening as well that I did really like, it was our first one. It was at the Prince Charles Cinema, and
Lovely
I
cinema.
really like everyone was so happy to be there. It was so cute.
Yeah.
Everyone was audibly like, yeah, and like, ooh, like it was, and I was just like, oh, this is so wholesome, because everyone's just so happy to be here.
It was a very immersive, like, fun experience, and you felt not like in a regular, when you go and see a film that's out in the cinemas, it was that feeling of like, you felt everyone's energy in the room, and everyone's sort of feeling these, like, watching at the same time. You know, there was a lot more, there was no talking, but there was a lot of like audible like reactions
to the film.
I loved that. There was moments where I was like, or like I'd cover my eyes and everyone else would do the same, and it's like, oh, that's what cinema should be. We should all be watching
it was
together.
It was a very wholesome experience.
I didn't like it as much as Ella. I don't know what it was for me. I knew nothing really about her specifically, but I knew that it was about a boxer who was suffering at the hands of an abusive husband. I did some good points for me with the acting. I did like Ella. I thought Sydney Sweeney was so good. She was so believable. There was moments where her character would like win a fight, and she'd like look around as to be like, she'd just look so,
she couldn't believe it herself, could she?
Yeah. She portrayed in those like earlier scenes like so much like vulnerability and like a confusion of looking like out of her depth, but also looking really excited as well. And I did think those particular moments, I was like, oh, like I really like the performances. I love the acting. I like the fact how it didn't shy away from the extent of the abuse she endured. For me, one of the most horrifying elements of it was that the character, Chrissy's mother in it, her character was just so unbelievably like disgusting and horrible and just not a nice woman, as was the husband obviously. But I was watching it like, oh my god, I was so invested in that aspect of it. Her mother was just unbelievably like, you just can't, you know, there's characters and those people in life that you just can't understand and you just want to shake. Like the fact that they depicted her in such a grovel sort of way was really just quite captivating for me, because I don't know why I'm always those characters where you're like, it's the complete antithesis of what you do, where you're like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. I found that really good. The acting was great. I thought the dynamics between all the different characters was really good. Very compelling elements to it. But I don't know. I just felt like the structure and the rhythm of it, for me, the last half an hour, 45 minutes was really good. That was where it got really good for me. That's why I gave it 3 and not 2. But quite a lot of it, I don't know, I found it a bit flat.
I know what you mean. I felt it got a bit repetitive, didn't it? It was almost kind of like, not repetitive, but I understand that they've got to show a journey and they've got to show, like, you know, she won fight after fight. She is known for a reason because she was a very good boxer, so you have got to portray that in the film. However, it was kind of a bit like, you could kind of predict what was going to come next. But yeah, like you, the last 45 minutes really clawed it back for me. I thought there was one scene, bit of acting where I was like, oh my God. Sydney Sweeney's character, Christy, she goes to the hospital and she almost like, she has to tell the nurses what's happened to her, and it's almost like she's, as well as doing that, she's admitted it to herself as well. And I just think she did that so well. Like, I was like, I think I teared up at that point, but I think she just acted that so well.
It was really, really good.
Yeah, she played a great character. Well, she played the person brilliantly. I think I liked the fact that I didn't know anything about it. It's basically, she gets stabbed and shot by her husband. And when she got shot, I was like, she's dead. She survived?
Yeah.
I didn't know she was still dead or alive, because I've seen some interviews, but
I knew she was alive.
See, I didn't know that. So
That's
I was
why
kind of thinking like, oh my God, I didn't know she died. But obviously she didn't. She's still alive. And then she ends up, her husband goes to jail for attempted murder, and he's still there now, I'm pretty sure. And then she actually ends up getting with, because there's throughout the whole film, it kind of refers to her not being straight, like she kind of just married, it was to fit,
a marriage
like,
of convenience, wasn't it?
it fitting within society and things. She ended up married, and she's still married to one of the other boxers that she fought, and I was just kind of like, that's so cute.
I know. And there's a great scene in it at the end when she's in hospital, where she comes to visit her and she's like telling her that she needs to use the walking frame, and she's like, no, she's carrying it over her shoulder. And I feel like in that last like half an hour, you really see the true like the full sort of like 3-dimensional essence of that character. Like, you see how strong she is. And one of the most powerful scenes for me, like Ella was saying, the scene in the hospital, there's a scene when she gets out of hospital where she walks back into the gym, and she is encountering the men who she works with, her whole team, who knew that her husband was taking the money and that she was earning from her fights and was spending it himself. Like,
he was sending it to another. He had another family, didn't he, or something? They alluded to the fact that he had another family, and he had kids that he doesn't see, and he was sending the money over there. That's what they alluded to. I mean, they didn't explore that too much because obviously it's about her, but there was a line about that, wasn't there? Where it's like, oh yeah, he's sending the money to his kids and his other wife or something like that, or his ex-wife.
In the car, that scene. Yeah, so I was. But watching that,
and they all
hugged her, and it was cute, and it was kind of like, it showed just how incredibly weak they all were to have known what was going on and not actually spoken up as much as what they should have. They've known bits and bobs of probably about the extent of the abuse, maybe not how bad it was, and never expected it to have gotten to the point where she was shot and stabbed. But you see how sorrowful and like devastated they are, and like they're not bad men, but they didn't know how to be in that situation, and they've made these mistakes of not sticking by her, and she just forgives them and she hugs them, and it's like, this woman is so strong in so many ways. And the film really celebrated just how immensely like full of like steel, like her core is made of steel. I don't know nothing about her. It might be a bit of a glorification of who she is, but that was really powerful for me watching that. That was probably my favourite scene in the film. One thing that actually, it might be a bit of a superficial critique, but the one thing for me that really took me out of it was the fact that
they didn't age.
This film spans 30 years. There's gaps, and like Ella said, there's not really a lot of like,
and they timestamp these gaps.
I didn't understand how no one aged. And there's not a lot of like contextual references to what happens in between. And like Ella said, it's quite repetitive as to like what happened each year. It was not too dissimilar to like the time jump before. But oh my God, Sydney Sweeney looked younger by the end of it.
I think the only thing they changed was the style of her hair, that just kind of went with the style of whatever the period of time was that it was set. And I think the only thing they did with the husband to make him look older is put him in tinted glasses as it went over, and they just got more and more tinted. When you look at other films that we've got that have, with the prosthetics and things, like surely you could have done a little bit more.
Could have put
but
a bit of a wrinkle on them, couldn't they?
I
Do you know
know.
what I mean?
Like, yeah, no, a little bit of an eye wrinkle or something.
Cheeky little dimple. I don't know, not dimple, but yeah, that kind of took me out of it a bit. I was like, it made me not believe it as much.
Yeah, and I was kind of, and it should have felt like you'd gone through her life a little bit more, but to me it didn't really. Probably I would have said that was set over like 5 years.
Yeah,
but it wasn't. It was set over way longer than that. But no, overall I did enjoy that film. I would recommend people going to see it because I think it's an important story that's been, you know, made to put on screen, and I do think Sydney Sweeney is fab in it, and it's like a role that I haven't seen her in before.
Same. I think that she really should be getting her props for this. I think she's really good in it. I think there's a lot of dialogue surrounding Sydney Sweeney outside of acting, so I'm really excited for people to actually watch this and be like, oh wait, no, we forget how good she is. No. Like, I've not seen her in a lot of other things other than like Euphoria. I haven't seen like Anyone But You. I know she's in The Housemaid that's coming out with Amanda Seyfried, but I think she's really, really good in it. And it's a solid film. It's a solid film. And I wish that maybe the first 3/4 of it might have had a bit more of like an ebb and flow, when instead of just feeling a little bit limp and flat for me, they did a little bit. There was a few moments I got a bit bored. And given the nature of the story, I shouldn't really be feeling like that.
Yeah, I know, I get that.
But yeah, last 45 minutes, half an hour was really quite mega. And I remember turning to Ella and being like, as if she survived that. If I hadn't have kind of thought she was still alive and seen interviews where it was referred
I had no
to that
idea
she was alive, I'd have been like, nah, she's dead. But yeah.
No, I enjoyed. It was good. So the next one is Springsteen, Delivery from Nowhere, which we saw on the Saturday night. So you've been excited for this one for a while.
I'm the one who, I was so happy that I got in first and foremost. I was elated. And as well, my ticket was a different like seat. Ella had her seat, I had mine. And the lovely lad who we met in the queue, the one who was seeing like literally more films than I've had hot dinners.
Yeah.
He said, oh wait, I've got the same, like I've got the one next to you. Do you want to swap? So Ella got to sit next to me for this one. I really like this. Whether it is just my like Springsteen bias, too short, but I absolutely loved. I thought it was really refreshing to see a musical biopic about an artist that didn't feel like a biopic. That might not be, for that particular reason, it might not be everyone's cup of tea. I can understand that, but I really liked it. I think the fact that it's about the period in which he wrote Nebraska, which is a folk album, a dreary, drab, sad, honest album, and the essence of the film as well is exactly that. I thought it married with it really nice. I thought the score was really nice as well.
The score was lovely.
I really liked the score. I thought that was really beautiful. Sometimes a cradle to grave story for me is a bit much, and the fact that he's still alive and he's still going, he's still making music, he's still touring, that wasn't really something that we needed in terms of a Springsteen story. I think this, if you're going to choose any period of his life to depict, this was it. I loved the fact that there were so many different elements to it. Like there was the relationship with the girl that he meets when he goes back home after coming back from his tour. The fact that there's so many details, and we were talking about this when we left. There was so many details of making that album in terms of like the technical elements of it that we didn't know. He also wrote Born to Run in the same period, and his label wanted him to lead with that, and he chose not to. The label pushback on the album, the fact that he wanted to, you know, not do any press, not do any tour, that was really interesting.
He literally just wanted to drop it and leave.
Like bugger off, and I was like, literally fairs. And it was, all them different elements were really interesting to learn about, because I don't think that's the good part of it being such a finite period of time, is that it can like delve into these little things that you wouldn't have known otherwise. So I found it really like interesting to learn these things. And what inspired the album, you know, things like, you know, the Terrence Malick film that he watched, and the relationship with this woman that he meets. All that was great. But the one thing that saves it, obviously, is the overarching relationship between him and his dad that he's kind of grappling with from his childhood, and all of these memories that he's kind of internally grappling with. And I just loved it. I thought it was, for me, I like independent cinema. It felt like an independent film.
Yeah, it did. It didn't feel like they just pumped loads of money into it and was like, do what you want. Like, they did really keep it very true and real,
and it was really grounded. It felt really authentic, and I just, it was more about for me it was more about a man struggling with his mental health in his past more than anything. And I think for a singer like Springsteen, whose songs are always guided by narrative as opposed to, like, I don't know, he's a songwriter, he's not like a vocalist, or like, I don't know, he's always had his finger on the pulse in terms of the words. And I think that the whole film really honoured that in the sense that it was really just focused more on him as a man as opposed to him like as an artist. And I just, I thought it was really wholesome and healing. I thought performance-wise, Jeremy Allen White.
Oh my God, he was
Brill.
uncanny.
Wasn't
I
he?
kept like looking at him and I was like,
Yeah.
you're insane. The brown contact, I think because he has such bright blue eyes in real life, like we're used to seeing those gorgeous ocean blue eyes in The Bear, and then obviously because we've seen the like dark brown eyes that he's obviously put in for Springsteen, I was literally just like, you're uncanny.
He looked just like him.
He was fab. I just, but I mean, we've said before, like we were really pleased with this casting choice, and he didn't fail. I think Odessa Young played a really good part as well, who played his love interest.
Is that Faye her name was?
Faye, yeah. She played a really good part, subtle but like, you know, enough to make an impact on his life, and that's why obviously they included her in it. Stephen Graham was fab. Jeremy Strong. No matter who he is in any film, he is fab.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
He's brilliant. I remember seeing him in The Apprentice and I was just like, oh my God. And like, again, he kind of is like playing, not obviously the same character because that is a film about Donald Trump and this is about Bruce Springsteen, but in terms of like the side piece manager, kind of, you know, the advisor throughout a career, I think, he never fails. And I just think he's always fab in everything he does. And considering he's become so established since Succession, he still manages to like melt into his characters, which I think
so good, isn't it?
That's such a talent. So again, I was
really
as soon as I saw him, I knew he was in it, but I kind of like had forgotten that he was in it. And when he came onto the screen, I was like, oh yeah.
He's one of them actors that he's just a joy to watch. I love watching him, and I liked watching him play a character that I liked as well. We don't usually get that.
No,
like Roy
true.
Cohn went, I'm a fan of him.
No.
So it was it was really, the performances were all great, very, very solid. Really want to see Jeremy Allen White get some awards recognition for this.
Me
I think
too.
he was brilliant. There's a scene in it towards the end where he just like Bruce just breaks down, and it was so, I cried because it was so authentic. Like you felt that the weight of everything he's been carrying, everything that he's grappling with from his, you know, his relationship with his father, and it's just I really,
do you know
really
what that
enjoyed it.
scene really gave similar vibes to?
Go on.
The scene of Connell in Normal People in the counselling session. He played that so well, and like to have the pressure as well of actually playing a real person as well,
and when he's watching you in real life. I know. Bruce Springsteen was on set like
they said on the Graham Norton show the other day, he ended up coming quite a lot, which obviously is fab. It's so nice that you actually wanted to take.
I honestly shot myself.
I would have literally just been like constantly looking out the corner of my eyes, like, was that all right?
Yeah, I would have. Did you see when Jennifer Lawrence was like, "Have you apologized?"
Yeah,
it's so funny. But no, it was. I really liked it. I can see why it's not everyone's cup of tea. It's not a conventional musical biopic, but I think for someone like Springsteen, it suits him and it suits this particular period of his life.
I think I gave this one 4 out of 5.
I did too. I did. I thought acting was stellar.
Yeah.
Stephen Graham, honestly, I love him. And we still do get a lot of them Springsteen hits. We open with Born to Run. He gets to see, you watch a full performance of Born in the USA. And it was just great. It was great. And yeah, I loved it. There was one thing that I read where someone said I could have delved in a little bit more detail to the process of actually writing more of Nebraska. I would have enjoyed that as well.
Yeah. I think they managed to get that across. You know, he watched this Terrence Malick film.
Yeah.
He was going through this. So I feel like it was kind of stuff that didn't need to be said and delved into as much because you kind of got that through just watching him
you did.
in certain scenarios of his life. But yeah, no, I did. I really enjoyed this film, and yeah,
did.
Another one you need to go and watch.
Yeah, you need to go and watch.
I think it's
really
out.
enjoyed.
Yeah, it's out now, isn't it? It's not one of the ones that's coming out later.
I loved, and I'm happily going to watch it again.
Yeah.
Yay.
So our next one is the first film that we saw at 11:30 on Sunday morning. Now, I'm doing a disclaimer about this review for The History of Sound, which is the film we went to go and see, starring Paul Mescal and Josh O'Connor. I was so ill. I felt so ill, and I feel like because my nose was just constantly streaming, I didn't enjoy this film as much as I should have.
Yeah, and then you really,
from
as soon as it finished, you're like, I need to wait.
Yeah, I think for like the last half an hour of the film, I've got an unfair judgment on it because all I was concentrated was not weighing on the seat. Do you you know what I mean though? Like it really takes it away,
I
doesn't
didn't.
it?
Yeah, if you need a wee and you snuffle
Yeah.
it, we were in the Royal Festival Hall.
Yeah,
at
so
Southbank.
we were basically sat
Red
where
seats.
the audience sit
Yeah,
during the
we were in the
plebs,
the pleb view. The pleb view. Yeah,
which it was. I mean, it was a fab experience to be in there. To
yeah,
just
it
say that
was.
we've
It was
been in there
our
and,
first time.
Yeah,
Great.
it was at the Southbank. So I did enjoy this. I do think I need to give it a second watch though to give it an actual fair
I think
opinion on it.
Yeah, that'd be worth it. I'd watch it again. I enjoyed it.
I think because it don't come out now until Jan, does it?
know,
So
yeah.
I can go and watch it again in cinemas. I did enjoy it. I think I gave this 3 stars. The performances in it were fab. I thought the storyline, great. I do just think it could have been shorter.
Yeah, you said that when it came out, didn't you?
Yeah.
Kind of agree.
Because there was a storyline, like they did have a really solid storyline, but
Not very dense in terms
it
of
wasn't
plot, though,
dense.
was it?
No, it wasn't. Like it was a nice storyline. It was a wholesome storyline, sweet storyline.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. There was no density to it, like you say. Yeah, I agree with that. I think did it need to be over 2 hours long for what it was?
Yeah, I can see that. I liked it personally. I very nearly got to that point where I would have thought, oh, it's too long.
But whether I would watch
but-
that again and think that still, I don't know, because it obviously it would be under different circumstances because I could get up and go to the toilet. And we were in the middle and we were getting annoyed at people, at latecomers coming in. So I was like, I'm not going to be one of those girls.
Can we take a moment as well? People were coming in halfway through.
They were saying like,
You joking?
once the film starts, we do not allow latecomers. Well,
Why would you
were letting everyone in, love.
I know, but why would you even want to watch it when, like halfway through?
When you've missed like the first 45 minutes where the storyline's been laid out for you.
I know, it was just like, oh, come on.
There are a lot of shots of landscape. There are a lot of prolonged shots, which I kind of was expecting. However, I was just kind of like, okay, cut there.
Yeah, it was. Yes, I do. I know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
You know when he started walking away from the camera at the end? I thought it was going to end there.
Yeah, same. I actually did.
But then it went on and it skipped.
Is it a true story? Or is it inspired by true events?
It's inspired.
Yeah.
But I think it's like obviously been like written for screen.
Written
so
for the
to make it a
screen.
bit more like fictionalized, a bit more interesting. Add a few, details. But I do think the two of them, I mean, they were fab. Like, they played such good characters. It was really Paul Mescal's film.
I think so too. Yeah, I do. I think
because Josh O'Connor.
Yeah.
Halfway through.
Oh yeah. I didn't see much of him. I really liked it. I actually might have. I was going to try and say I might have preferred it. Springsteen a bit, but very different films. Only because we watched them on the same weekend. But it was a very. If you like sort of quiet, like meditative, tender, sort of understated watches like this, then give it a watch. I liked it for those reasons. I went in knowing a little bit about, you know, what it was going to be about. Like Ella said, it's not very like dense in terms of plot. There wasn't like there was a storyline there and it was compelling, but there wasn't like it wasn't driven by the plot. It was driven by the characters and their relationship with them. I did think it was a bit at points a bit drawn out and a little bit slow, but I also it got saved for me towards the end. I think we saw a little bit more about their relationship and what happens in the end, and it does start to evolve quickly at a certain point. So I was all right really with the pace of it, and I did because the cinematography is so beautiful.
The setting and the cinematography is what like really wins over this film, I feel.
Yeah, it does, because it was so sort of engrossing, and it felt so like you felt like the cold of like the weather when you were there, like when they were there, you can just feel the essence of it and the way it's shot, and that's what I found so engrossing. So maybe because the cinematography might have lessened the fact that it was a bit slower. I think because there were a lot of lingering shots, but a lot of the shots were so beautiful. I was kind of really engrossed by it.
Exactly. I think they were needed at times because you did need to kind of take in that vast landscape in some of the scenes that they were in. It did help in some aspects, but some aspects I was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, I know. And it was another thing I liked about it, and I can see why this might not be something other people might. This might be a critique from some other people, and there were some letterbox reviews that was like, I didn't feel the immensity of their love. I didn't feel like the intensity of it, and it isn't sort of shoved into your face. It isn't very sort of overt, and it's very understated, but it kind of had to be understated given the fact that this is a gay relationship in the 1920s. They couldn't really. That's not something that they themselves could have like allowed to exist in a really enriching, fulfilling way. So the fact that we as an audience aren't really exposed to, I felt as a viewer, the love between them, but I can see why people will want more from what is advertised as a love story, because do you know what I mean? Like we're not supposed to be afforded the bit like seeing it in the way that it should have been, because it's two men.
Yeah, it
And
did have to be closeted.
Yeah, it had to be closeted, so we aren't afforded the ability to like see it in its entirety.
Yeah, I must admit I do agree on that point, and I feel like this is just me personally. I think I'm invested in a story more when I'm invested in the love between two characters a bit more. So obviously because we didn't get that as much, I feel like that's maybe where it lacked a little bit for me. But obviously there are obvious reasons why. But personally, maybe I would have liked it a little bit more. But I do understand why they chose to go in that direction and do it that way, because obviously the sign of the times and stuff. But
it's more because the sign of the times, it's more like a subtextual undercurrent to the film, as opposed to it being like overtly a love story. You have to kind of detect it for yourself and find that love there, whereas when it's not fully,
that's what I don't understand about these latecomers. Like, they missed there was only really one thing that kind of showed that they were together. Like, if I came in after that scene, I would have kind of been like, if I knew nothing about this film and didn't know that they played gay lovers, I would have just been kind of like, oh
yeah, it really people just, that annoyed me. I was like, I kept nudging Ella and being like,
I know. Like, bright light shining in our faces when they were coming up the stairs. I did enjoy it, and as I say, I think maybe I need a second watch to properly really appreciate the film itself. But this is probably your Christy. I preferred Christy to you, and you preferred History of Sound.
I preferred History of Sound. I don't know. I think it's the fact that I like films like this. I feel like, I don't know, I like the fact that it's just a bit quieter. It's a bit more understated. Doesn't like have to ram anything into your face. It leaves you to kind of ponder and watch and detect for yourself, and that's what like these more understated sort of stories do. And I like the way it ended as well. I think if it hadn't have had the ending that it did, I thought it would have been, maybe a bit less sort of engrossing. I found it a really engrossing watch. I thought it was very somber, and I like film music too.
I did, the score I really liked, and I think the fact that they brought it
into the modern day,
and didn't just leave it in the past. They did bring it a bit more modern, and I do think it kind of makes it a little bit more relatable in terms of the story to the viewers nowadays. But overall, I did enjoy it. It was.
I agree with that, actually, the last point as well. Yeah, I think because it makes it feel more real.
A bit of a connection. You kind of have a bit more of a connection to it, because it's not like, oh, this happened like nearly 100 years ago. Yeah. It kind of is like, oh no, actually it still resonates to modern day, because it brings the past to the present, doesn't it? So like, I thought that linked it nicely.
I did too. It does. It kind of it makes it feel more real, and it makes the whole film kind of feel a little bit less sort of mildly, I don't know if this is the right word, but kind of mystical in a way. Like, it didn't feel as, I don't know, there's a bit of a very sad sort of, tragic fairy tale element to it. Whereas when you see him in real life years later, you're like, oh wait, no, oh, it's real. I don't know. Yeah, it grounds it a bit more, I think. So I agree with that. But
I agree. So that's History of Sound.
When's
that out? January.
At some point,
Don't know when.
I know. I enjoyed it, but the latecomers, shame on you guys. I know. Hope we have some people watching this who realise the error of their ways.
But for us in the future, if we are late to a film, we know we're going to be let in.
No, literally, we know. And as well, if you've not got a ticket, you're going to be let in. You can get in.
Easily get in. Our final one, we booked on a bit of a whim, didn't we?
We did. We were after, what was it after? No, it was between Christie and Springsteen, where we're like, what should we watch? We only had one film booked for the next day, didn't we?
And the timings were awkward. Like, we would have just gotten a standby queue, but there was no films on really that we wanted to get in the standby queue for. I think because it was like the last day of the festival. We just, on a whim, booked a film called La Grazia.
Thank God as well, because it was raining.
Yes.
And we would have been walking around London being like, which one should we queue up for?
Yeah.
Whereas this one they were both in Southbank, and I love Italian cinema, so I was really excited for this, and I'd never seen any Paolo Sorrentino films.
And I literally went into it. We read like the Wikipedia blurb, and that was about it.
Yeah, we did.
But it was a really cool experience. We'd come down from the pleb seats down to the front.
Yeah, we're at the front now.
So where like the stars would sit during the BAFTAs, and then we had a bit of a talk at the start from the main actor, who was so sweet, bless him. Oh, he was dead. He did a little bow and everything.
So cute.
It was so cute.
Oh, he was just so cute and Italian, wasn't he? And
he had a translator there, and the director of the festival was just asking him a few questions ahead of the film. There was quite a few Italians in the audience as well, which was nice, which I really liked, because when he was speaking they were laughing, and then when the translator was speaking we were laughing. I think like to have that experience as well. I'm glad we got to have an experience where we did get a bit of like an introduction at the start.
I know. Yeah, it made it feel like that's actually like the festival that it was.
I enjoyed this film more than I thought I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
I really did.
Same.
Even though we were quite close, so it was very like,
yeah,
you had to obviously,
it was huge.
You couldn't get the big picture
I had to put the blue lights on.
Yeah, like you obviously had to read the subtitles and then look up at the scene. But I mean, once like half an hour and you get used to it, don't you? Yeah, because all the films that we saw this weekend were over 2 hours long. But
oh yeah, they were.
I don't think they felt that long.
This one out of all of them, I actually found this one that was the one that I was not wanting it to end the most. I was really like...
It went very quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I thought there's so many really fun elements to it. I remember turning to you being like, there were certain things that were like, I mean, it was that typical sort of fast-paced sort of Italian, like, setting dynamic. Like, a lot of the dialogue was being said very quick.
Yeah.
I was like reading it very quickly. And then there were certain things where all the Italians were like pissing themselves. And I was like... I don't know if I find it like that funny. It was humorous, but I didn't.
It was humorous, but in a very subtle way. I think he played it very well. He didn't mean to be funny, but he was.
Yes, it was funny.
And I think he obviously knew what he was doing, the actor. So like props to him. But I think it came. I think that made it a little bit more like understatedly funny because he was just funny without trying to be funny. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought. There was a lot of strong characters in this.
There's great characters in this. Yeah, I really liked it.
The cinematography in this was insane.
Kiss.
It was so good. Oh
my God.
I turned to you halfway through, didn't I? And I was like, the cinematography in this is brilliant.
Yeah, honestly, there were certain moments where I was like, look at that shot.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was so good. Yeah, I loved it. And I loved how like a lot of the shots were just still as well. Like the camera work wasn't quick. It wasn't like trying to do too much. There was a lot of just still shots there. I loved it. I really, really liked this film. I thought it was quite a rogue watch. I just thought there was a lot going on, but nothing that was overtly complex. It was a very niche, original storyline.
Yeah.
In terms of like the character development as well that went along with that, it was a really strong watch. I think it was so funny. I've got sophisticated here, and I don't know why my brain's just joined it with funny. It was humor. So funny. It was a sophisticated film. It was a very classy, well done, witty film, and the storyline for to give you a little bit of a synopsis, it is about an Italian president who is nearing the end of his term, and he is grappling with his own sort of mental torment at the thought that his wife, or the certainty that his wife, who has since passed away, who we don't see, has had a lover, had an affair 40 years ago. Nothing that I don't think they implied that it continued, did it? It was just then.
No, yeah, it was just like
then, and it randomly just taunts him in these last few days of his presidency. And then, as president, he's also grappling with the decisions surrounding whether to pardon 2 convicted murderers, and also whether to legalise assisted dying and euthanasia in Italy. So
the murderers were at the hands of their partners, and again, it links in with the euthanasia, doesn't it? Because it was kind of like it
was very intertwined.
It was intertwined because the people that were murdered were kind of at the end of life anyway, and didn't have a great quality of life. So it kind of went hand in hand with the euthanasia because I think
connect that in my brain.
No,
like these scenes though where you'd think, I know what you mean, where the president meets up with these convicted murderers. That's when it kind of shines that light on it, but it's not sort of rammed in your face. But it was really good. I thought the score was
fab.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think
interesting.
Some parts I was kind of a bit like towards the end. I was like, okay, because it was quite like techno, wasn't it?
It was
in some parts.
For the cinematography to be the kind of grand and vast, you would have thought it would have been a bit more orchestral, but it kind of throws you off a bit in that sense.
Yeah, it does. Which I think, I mean, for an Italian film, I wasn't very shocked because I was kind of like, oh. It's quite. It gives me like the wacky. The very few Italian films I've seen, they do come across quite wacky. It really gave me similar vibes in terms of the clean cinematography to Conclave.
Yes, I was thinking that when I was watching
it. I was because it was set in these grand buildings. Yeah. Obviously, that's set in Italy as well. So, and I just think
very similar. Yeah,
they have quite a few scenes on top of the building. So, you see like the whole skyline, and again the way that whenever they went up onto the top of the building, there was a camera always set up in the same place, wasn't there?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Where you could kind of see all. Cinematography was
brilliant.
So fab. Like there was a scene which was so random, but there was a massive storm. The Portuguese president was coming, and he just like all in slow motion. He walks and walks and walks, gets like flung about by this red carpet. Then he decks it, and I'm just kind of like, you never see him again. It just this thing just happens, and it's just so random. But like the cinematography of that was just like great.
So what would that represent?
I don't really know what that represented, to be honest. But I was like, love that.
This
creative
is
choice.
the thing as well. Like that's the kind. It's the kind of film that gets you thinking about these certain creative choices that just they're made, but you have to kind of wrangle with yourself as to why they're made and what they might mean, and it prompts you to really put your interpretation hat on. Nothing's sort of overtly given to you. I really like that.
Yeah,
my favorite part of it, I'd say, was the dialogue. Like the dialogue was
so good.
Chef's
Yes,
it was
written so well.
Good. I thought it was so well written. Even like the funny stuff as well as the more compelling and poignant elements to it. Like for me, sometimes I don't know whether it's because of the fact that I like to write, but a simple sentence can make or break a film for me. I don't know what it is. Like the dialogue in this was so rich, and there was a constant, and the fact that it was sort of the punctuation of the film, the little elements of it or parts of it where there was this phrase that was, and this sort of question that was bung around, like who owns our days, you know, in relation to him as a president, and the fact that, you know, the film is centered a lot around these two criminals, these convicted murderers, and it's this sort of like constant sort of question that is slung around the film, and it's such a beautiful phrase, like, who owns our days, but it also like it prompts you to think of so many different things and prompts you to ask the question yourself. And I just thought the dialogue was so beautiful. I thought towards the end, the last sort of 20 minutes, that half an hour when he retires as the president and he goes to live on his own, and there's certain things that happen are really a bit random. Do you remember the phone call with Vogue, or like the Italian Vogue?
He did like an interview with Vogue about like fashion, and kind of you got a bit more of an insight into what his life was like and things. So yeah, I just thought the whole thing was very lighthearted. Like they had a family friend who called Coco, and she was so funny. Like she came in all guns blazing, and I just thought they brought her in so well, and her character was just fab. But yeah, overall, I really like this film. As I say, it was one of the films that I enjoyed more than I thought I would.
Yeah, same.
What would be your overall ranking if you had to do 4-1 of the films we saw?
Oh, okay. I would put, I don't know.
It's hard, isn't it? I probably would put History of Sound last. But I think I'm giving it a hard... Wow. I think mine would probably go History of Sound, La Grazia, Christie, Springsteen.
See, mine would probably be... Oh, do you know what? I know definitely Christie's at the bottom for me. Then I would probably say... Then I might say La Grazia, even though I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Then I'd probably go Springsteen, then I go History of Sound.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert as well about La Grazia, that Coco is the lover.
Oh yeah, Coco's the lover. So what they instigate is the fact that she's had this affair around the time that her kids were being born. There's been some infidelity in my marriage, but my children. He's got a son and a daughter, and I think he was a bit like, it was sending him under a little bit. But then obviously Coco refuses to tell him who it was, and then she goes, oh, it's me. And then it's kind of like, oh right, okay. But he still, I mean, that's kind of left, it's quite ambiguous, left like ending, because
he doesn't really know if he believes it, does he?
No.
He's like, oh,
he's just like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, the very last scene.
But she's like, no, actually. But then he like holds her hand. Maybe he just kind of doesn't want to.
Poignant.
But yeah, no, I did really enjoy this film. I think.
I thought it was great.
Yeah. Whether
Very
it'll get,
original.
I don't know where it might be released in like the more indie cinemas, but I doubt it's going to get a widespread release. But I'm really glad we went to go and see it, and something different as well. I think all the films we went to go and see were all very different, and we got a lot of like different genres. So
why it's hard to rank them.
Stay tuned for next year.
Honestly, we'll just get drunk on films.
Yeah.
Well, I loved all these films. I really did. I'm glad we went to see like the films that are actually good. But then again, you also think like it's the London Film Festival.
There's no bad films. I just think there's some that like maybe just aren't up your street, are they? Our overall first experience was really good at the London Film Festival, and now we can go back knowing how it all rolls, how it all works.
I know. Just waltz in.
We're excited to go back. But yeah, thanks so much for watching.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.